Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. May is National Foster Care Month. Across the country, foster parents have taken in tens of thousands of children and teens who were living in unsafe environments. It's estimated that every 18 minutes, a child is abused or neglected. There are nearly 13,000 children living in foster care here in Michigan, and another 300 are still waiting for adoptive families. Joining me now to talk about the importance of helping foster youth are Deborah Matthews, who's the president and CEO of the Children's Center, and foster parent Sherry Nash. Welcome, both of you, to American Black Journal.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. I can remember not so long ago here in Michigan, we had a really awful story to tell about foster care, the problems with foster care, the problems with supervision, getting kids out of homes where they were in danger. But I understand that that's a little better picture now, that we're moving in the right direction.
Right, we're definitely moving in the right direction. Over the last 10 years, there's been a real focus, starting at the state level with the Department of Health and Human Services, to make sure that we're doing the right thing by kids.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot better now, but 13,000 is still a lot of kids.
It's a lot.
But that's down from about 19,000 10 years ago.
Yeah, and the goal, of course, is to get kids not just into foster homes, but into permanent adoptive homes, and that's always a challenge.
A child being in foster care is traumatic. First, being taken out of their home, despite what the deal was in the home, it's traumatic for the child, so it causes a lot of emotional anxiety, of course. And so the goal is, if at all possible, especially at the Children's Center, can we help facilitate getting the child back into their birth home, back with their families? That's the first goal. And of course, courts have the decision about that, but we try to really facilitate the healing in that home. And then with the foster parents, we want to be able to give them all the supports that they need so they have a great experience with the child and able to take care of them in a great way.
Yeah. We also had real challenges with the moving kids from that foster care into adulthood, right?
Exactly.
Getting them to college or to work. We were really challenged.
Well, for children youth, as they get to the age of around 16, they should start thinking about adulthood, of course. And so many of them don't want to be adopted, and we don't force them. So we put them into an independent living program at the Children's Center so that we can begin to train them about that adulthood.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but my children at 18 were not ready. And so
kids are not ready at 24.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of support. So we help them with understanding how to live on their own. They're in what's called a host home rather than a foster home, many of them, and help them learn about taking care of themselves, financial literacy, how to keep a budget, education. Education is top in everything we do in foster care. We want those children to graduate because the stats are totally against children in foster care with respect to graduation.
Yeah, boy, they really are.
Yeah, very few of them advance on unless they have the adequate support that emphasizes education and that they understand what even the benefits are and the supports that they can get to be able to have that education taken care of without a lot of expense from themselves. And if they don't have families, what do? That first day of college and how to navigate through all of that, they need support. And at the Children's Center, that's part of the job that we do.
We're talking about it here at the sort of policy level. For you, this is a very individual story as a foster parent. Tell me how you decided that you even wanted to do this.
Well, I love children. I am a substitute teacher, and I wanted to give back. I have to figure out where I can volunteer and better use my time. So I came up with being a foster parent, and I love it. I'm always telling people that I am a foster parent and how much I think that they should look into being a foster parent also, or adoptive, and that is my next step, I hope, that I'll be able to be an adoptive parent. Yes.
Talk about that first day or night that a foster child comes to your home. What are the things that you do to start trying to, I guess, create a family is what you're doing, right?
Well, I utilize some of the tactics and skills that I've learned being an adult, and then being a parent and being a teacher. So I first make sure I introduce myself and I tell the rules, and I let the babies know how they can address me.
Right.
And then I ask them about things that they like so that I can wean into how I can get them more things that they're used to.
Right, right.
So
try to make it a little more like home.
Yes, to make the transition very smooth.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you have these kids in your home, do you talk about what their futures might look like, and in terms of permanent families or things like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
We talk about a big variety of things so that my babies feel loved.
Yeah.
They give input, and I try to make it more of them talking to me instead of me talking to them, but because of my background, it doesn't always work that way because my role is to be the head facilitator.
Sure.
But, my current girls ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, yeah. I know that there is a lot of support, financial support for foster families, emotional and other kinds of support, but talk about some of the challenges that you
I'll
face
talk
as a
about
foster
the
parent.
challenges, but I don't know about the
Right.
financial support. I'm
Right,
going
it's
to
not
put it
great.
out there. The financial support is not what you may have heard,
It's not what
and
it
I
would
would
cost you,
hope
right.
that someone would iron that myth.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of wrinkles there.
Sure.
But for me, being a foster parent is a lot of organization, which is also what I do in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So being an organizer, being someone who likes things to be more organized and just spontaneous is very important.
Sure, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Mrs. Nash is just a wonderful foster parent, and so she didn't need much training. But what I wanted to talk about is what the Children's Center offers. We help get the parents licensed,
first
of course.
time,
Right,
yeah.
the first time. They call us on the phone, and we walk them through the process. We have an orientation that in a class. Actually, the state gives us or directs that we do what's called a PRIDE training. And that's very critical because we want parents to understand what they're going to face. Because of all the myths that are out there, we want to give them the true story.
Yeah.
It's not a moneymaker for anybody.
Right,
So your
right.
heart has to be about children, saving children, supporting children. And so we walk them through that process. And then if you think of the emotional difficulty involved in someone being taken out of their home, a child, there's supports that are needed there. About half of the children in foster care need some level of mental health service and support, and the families need to know where the resources are.
Yeah.
Mrs. Nash was talking about how she has a lot of things in her head that she's found out that she shares with other parents, and at the Children's Center, it's our job to make sure all the families know about those kind of resources to help fill in that gap.
Yeah.
We even have like a clothes boutique where they can actually go in and choose which clothing they may want because the allowances coming from the state are not that great.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of the things that you tell new families about what it's going to be like to be a foster family? I mean, that transition is got to be pretty dramatic.
Right. Well, many of them already have children, although that's not a requirement.
Right.
They don't get disqualified for a number of things. Their gender, their marital status, that does not always disqualify them. They have to have income, of course, coming in, and we make sure we talk through all of those pieces that we've known to be kind of best practices in dealing in bringing in a foster child. We talk about the age they would prefer, the gender they would prefer. So all of those things need to get talked through in advance, and they get that through our conversations and our intensive training process.
Yeah. Foster Care Month is May.
Yes.
Talk about what we can look
We
forward to
we
there.
are always excited about honoring our foster parents like Mrs. Nash because they need to be appreciated.
Yeah.
So the awareness is about appreciating the ones that we have and also waving the flag because it's not over. We need more foster parents, people who are willing to give of their hearts to take care of these children. And it's about letting folks know that even if you don't want to foster or be a host family, you can support this effort. It's a community effort, and you can support it by coming down and volunteering, financial support, all kinds of ways that you can support the children's centers. We try to do our work, and of course the foster parents as well.
Okay, well, congratulations on all the great work you're doing. Congratulations on what you're doing, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, foster parents.
Yes, right.